went to the university, spent years studying, and graduated with a first class. But somehow, I still do not think that some degrees are worth it. And in this video, I will be telling you why. Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel and Happy New Year. My name is Adora, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a few reasons why I do not really appreciate the whole formal university bachelor's degree. Because of this video, I'm going to be asking you an important question, and I really want you to answer me. Like, this question is so important to me. And don't get me wrong, this is not an attack on education being valid or invalid. I am pro-education. However, this is an attack on the current system that exists today. I would suggest that stick around to watching this video. If you are watching this video and you're new to my channel, hi, you're welcome. If you're new here, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and if you like this video at any time as you watch it, make sure that you hit that like button as well, so that the subscribe button doesn't feel left out. The question is this: if you have a bachelor's degree today, are you currently working in the field that you got your bachelor's degree in? And if you are working in that field as well, another question is, are you in debt? Are you in any form of debt at all? Like, did you have to borrow money to go to school? Or if you are in these countries where they have student loans, are you do you currently have so much student loans to pay and you're wondering where to start from? And is it worth it? I need you to be honest. Me, as I'm here now, I'm a Nigerian. Means that most of the federal schools that exist here are schools that are under ASU, right? This is January 2021. ASU has been on strike since March 2020, I'll be February 2020. So just imagine, our friends now, the ASU strike, they've been at home for a very long time. They're doing nothing at home. And in that context now, you just wonder, you're going to be wasting that student time. The amount of time they plan to spend in university is going to not be the amount of time they end up spending. Students have been out of school for so long, their time is literally wasting. They don't have, it's not as if when they come out of school, the normal world clock suddenly stops and waits for them rather. Their time is wasting, school fees is wasting, all the things they even learned at some point starts to fly out. This is an attack on systems in general. This is not even an attack on the Nigerian system, because I know schools abroad, I'm not going to mention the country so that but I know schools abroad that obviously they don't strike as long as this one that has been striking for a very long time. I think they just even called off the ASU strike, I don't know. Even in other parts of the world as well, federal schools, government schools, public schools as they're called, go on strike once in a while, maybe for 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 weeks, that type of thing. And in that moment, you're literally wasting the students' time. And if these students had a plan around their life, it's now becoming a waste, because they're at home. You have elongated the time that they would have spent in school by how long the strike is. Even if you want to now meet up with the curriculum and everything, different students move at different paces, and it's going to affect some people. So in all honesty, something else for me is that when you think about university, you're always learning, which necessarily is not a bad thing, but there's a chance that what you learn, when you are ready to apply that knowledge, what you learned is actually obsolete. Everything has changed, So, but I mean, in some courses it works. So when you think about something like law, it's what you know is what you know, right? Even medicine, I don't even think it applies, because you have to do research, you have to keep learning. I mean, I don't think anybody was taught about COVID-19 in schools 10 years ago. I might be wrong, I don't know, because I'm not in that field, but I wouldn't have, I wouldn't expect that would have been a thing. But now there's research that is driving people to look in that direction. But it's I said, for some degrees it doesn't happen. Take computer science for example. Let's say you learned about in your school's curriculum, right? You are building Android applications, and you're building these Android applications with Java, and you were building web apps and you were using Dreamweaver. You come out, everybody's talking about Vue.js, React, Next, what's that thing called, Kotlin and Flutter and the rest, and you're like, excuse me, this is not what they taught me. This is not what they taught me in school. Excuse me, sorry, school have passed. This is like an honest question. If you're doing a master's degree, if you're doing an MSc, an MBA, or you're doing a PhD, is your experience, a lot different? And I'm asking this question because of the next thing I want to say. Like, if you're doing a BSc now, most of the things you do is theory based. You literally spend all your years in a classroom taking notes that somebody else has read about, pouring those notes into your head, and you go into an exam hall and you pour those same notes back onto the paper for somebody to mark and give you a score. I don't know how sustainable that is. I don't want to say there are a lot of people that are brilliant but go to school and they pass, but when they come out, like, I don't want to feed all these bad energy people, like people that don't really appreciate first class degrees. I don't want to feed them with something to talk about, because they're always looking for something to talk about. But why don't we focus on learning by experience, as opposed to that whole, it's in Nigeria, it's called la cram la pour, Why don't we focus on learning by experience? I'm not saying we shouldn't do some kind of theory-based learning. Even left to me, that time that I'm spending in school, if I had taken the entire years I had spent in school and I had gone to a startup, and I had stayed there, I had learned coding in that startup, I had learned, about agile methodologies, I had learned about, DevOps, challenges with scaling, I would have been in a better place in my career at this point. Think about it. You spend 5 years doing the theory stuff. I think the only thing that school should do for you is that a degree should actually show that you are someone that can be taught something. You're someone that is teachable. So I can take you, train you, and you can go and do the work. But I personally don't think that you should waste 4 or 5 years of somebody's life just to determine whether they are teachable or not. And if it's by force for a university degree to be 4 or 5 years, okay, how about this? Left to me, other people said, don't do it. Everybody should go and learn on the field. Like, everybody should go and learn as they're doing, But that might not be favorable for different people for like different reasons. So let's say we still have education, let's have school. Why don't we try a different approach to the way this whole education thing works? So let's look at it like this. I'm doing computer science. I'm spending 4 years in school. Each year has 2 semesters. Why don't I take the first semester in each year as the semester where I have some kind of, theory-based learning, and the second semester, I'm working on a job. If it's possible for like the school, if the schools get funding, they can invest in these sort of opportunities that create more internship opportunities or jobs for students. Because if you create these jobs, you're not only going to be admitting students, you're also going to be admitting other normal professionals that will be there to supervise the students, work with the students, or even work on external things that the organization under the umbrella of the school is supposed to be working on, whether it's some research-based thing that can help change the world, or it's some app that you are building for like the school, like whatever it is. There are people that this is their full-time job. I work in this school and I'm doing this. And then second semester of every year, I'm a student. I'm working under this unit with this person and I'm learning this. Now it's like, okay, in the first semester, I learned the theory part of this thing. We talked about the challenges, like we talked about maybe DevOps multiple times. We talked about, cloud engineering. We talked about, cloud computing, moving everything to the cloud. We talked about the issues in scaling, we talked about CI/CD, and then now in my second semester, I'm working under this unit in school that manages like maybe you're in a school where every single lecture is recorded. MIT is coming to my mind, I'm sorry. Maybe you're in a school where every single lecture is recorded, and people's jobs basically is to manage the media, to make sure that the videos are readily available, to make sure that the website is not down, and like for different things you might have like different issues. So maybe your job is like, okay, I learned all these things in my first semester. Second semester, I'm going to work on transferring that knowledge as I'm working with this group of people. And that way, it can even be part of your work experience. When you come out of school, you find out that you automatically already have 4 years work experience backed up with your degree. And you can go and apply for jobs. But you don't let someone just read and write for 4 years. They come out with 0 years. They are not finding jobs because somehow they need experience to apply for jobs. But they also need jobs to get experience. So like, I don't get, do you want to kill the person? I love school, I love education. There's a chance that in the future I'll go and get other degrees. Do I like the way the system is run today? No. Do I wish the system somehow could change and be better? Yes. And that's why I'm making this video. Honestly, that's why I'm making this video. I love education, I love school. Like, I do, like, you don't know how much I love school. I don't know how many people actually know how much I really love school. So like, when I'm talking about this, it's coming from a place of love. It's coming because it's something that I care about. It's something that I'm passionate about. Things that I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about technology, I'm passionate about education, and I'm passionate about music. When I talk about these things, I just go. If you are not one of the elites, you either carry bese on your head because you want to be educated, or you don't get the best education. And that's not nice now. You said prison now, like, think take it in and understand. We can do better. We can do better, honestly. And this is a very common example in this part of the world where I am. You get into the university at 19. And you are getting in for a 5-year course, but somehow your 5-year course becomes 7 years or even 6 years because of things like ASU strike and things that you don't bargain for, and or even sometimes it might be that you had an extra year because of one very crazy lecturer, right? So you're 19, you finish your 6-year course, you're 25. You have to go and do NYSC for 1 year. You are done with NYSC, you are 26. You don't want to start applying for graduate trainee roles in like, all of these companies that usually take, entry-level trainee roles. And then they'll tell you that, oh, you have to be 24, or like you have to be 24 and below to get a graduate trainee role. So you're like, okay, me that I was a normal person and I did like the education, I went to school at the right time, I just maybe couldn't go to the best schools, and then they were always striking. I did this, I did that. Somehow, my time got wasted. Are you not trying to tell me that I don't deserve an entry-level training role? I'm not saying nobody should go to school or whatever. To be honest, I went to a university, I graduated, I have my bachelor's degree with a first class. So I'm not saying boycott university is trash, don't go. I'm just questioning the way the system is set up today. And honestly, these systems were created by human beings. Human beings also can decide to fix it. Because me personally, I don't think it's working. With the way, maybe it was working like years ago, but with the way the world is set up now, it's obviously not working. Like, how would somebody go to school for 5 years, study chemical engineering, study electrical engineering, come out of school, and the person has no access to any job, and then they go and start learning, like they start taking Udacity or Udemy courses, and then almost a year after that they start writing code. They spent 5 years just to come out. Like, they literally wasted those 5 years, came out, invested only 1 year in learning, and now they're writing code and they're earning dollars. Like, Please make it make sense. In my home country now, you know, as a Naija babe and everything, let's talk about the cost of education in non-public schools. Me, as I am like this, I went to a public school. You know, you ain't like I'm pride in it. There's no shame there. But like other people went to private schools. Other people went to different schools, and how much were they paying? Like, these school fees, when you gauge, like, you know, standard of living for, like, you know, an average Nigerian, the cost of education for me is like, is it really worth it though? Because, okay, so you graduate, right, after paying huge amount of money, you graduate, and what are the odds of you finding a job that gives you back the money that you had spent on school? I'm not saying education should not be, like, I'm not saying that education is valueless, that it should be cheap or worthless or whatever, but my point is, compared to how the life of an average person goes after school, is the amount of money that you actually spend on education worth it? Let's tell ourselves, like, let's be honest here. I'm not talking about basic education. Me, I think that every human being, elite, poor, whatever you are, I believe, and if God gives me the means, this is actually a cause I am willing to champion, I'm willing to dedicate my life to. Every human being deserves the right to basic education. Nursery school, primary school, secondary school. Because when you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, nursery school, you just figure out your way around things, you know, like, oh, you learn to count, you learn to speak, you learn to paint, you learn how to write letters, all of that. Primary school, they teach you how to count, like, you know, 1 to 3, you learn multiplication, you learn all these things, basics that you just need to navigate your way around that stage of your life. You know, secondary school, you learn how to think like a human being. And for me, I would, if I'm supposed to spend on my own kid, I'm talking about my own kid now, this is my own personal choice, you know, but if I had the option of blowing money on either a secondary school education or a university education for my kid, I would invest so much more on a secondary school education, because I feel that's when that child is forming, like, that's when that child is in their teen age, that's when that child is forming as a human being. They're learning, like, they're picking up things that would, you know, determine how their mental health would be, how their self-esteem would be. They're learning how to reason as human beings. This is when they're hitting puberty. A guy is, you know, learning how to, like, learning about his body. You know, a woman is learning about her body. Other people are learning about their bodies, and they're deciding, okay, this is it for me, this is not it for me. So I'm going to actually spend more money investing in my child's education at this stage, not at the university stage. That's what I think. And I'm talking about the amount of money that goes into university education. Me personally, I don't know if the value that you get out of it, like, it's just not working. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. If you liked it, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to me at this point, please make sure that you subscribe. The subscribe button is here. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end, like I said before. Until next time, my loves, I will see you soon. Bye.